one. So now we're recording. Hello, my name is Bryce Tubbs. With me today is Sam Winsbury. He's a personal branding coach and consultant. I'm super excited to be able to have this person here today so he can give us some great tips on how to do that. You know, I'm always trying to enhance my personal brand. Is there anything else you'd like me to add to the introduction, Sam?
No, that's all good.
Okay, excellent. You know, so everybody has like a backstory, right? So what inspired you to get into consulting and coaching?
Yeah, it's quite a funny story how I got into it. I was initially setting up sort of a traditional paid media marketing agency whilst I was at university. Long story short, I wasn't very good at it, right? But what I was good at was using LinkedIn to sort of generate attention around myself. I was perfectly fine at getting leads and starting conversations with people, but it was sort of the running the ads and closing the deals that I wasn't very good at. So through this sort of failed agency, I managed to build up quite a good personal brand. And then I eventually got to the stage where I was having people reach out to me on LinkedIn to actually help them with their LinkedIn profile and their content strategy rather than the sort of paid ad side. So it kind of made a sensible transition for me just to move into personal branding. It was what I was better at, and people started coming to me, so it was a no-brainer, really.
Oh, that's pretty cool then. Actually, so you ended up being able to do the agency that's interesting.
Yeah.
So who do you like to work with nowadays?
So at the moment I work with pretty much anyone in the B2B space, so B2B business owners or entrepreneurs and coaches.
Cool. So like what are some like mistakes that most people are making that they would not expect?
Yeah. So the first big mistake is not using LinkedIn, right, to the fullest advantage and not actually building a personal brand. Some people sort of pass it off as not being a useful strategy, but more and more we're seeing that it is one of the most favored strategies by some of the most successful coaches and business owners in the world. So I think the first mistake is not actually realizing the power of it and realizing that you can do it. I guess the second thing is not producing enough content. Content's a huge part of your personal brand. It's sort of the face of everything you do, if you like. It's the message between you and your target audience that you want to build up a persona around, right? So people aren't sort of active enough with their content. They're not producing enough, not producing it in good enough quality, and they're not sort of brave enough, if you like, to put it out. A lot of people I speak to are quite scared to put the first post out on LinkedIn, but I think it's quite important just to back yourself, to understand that you have a unique set of knowledge that nobody else in the world has, and you want to offer that out to people. So yeah, making content and not making content is a huge mistake because we all have something to offer.
So let's say that someone watching is afraid to make content. Maybe they've done like a post and it got like a bad comment or it got no visible traction. What are some steps they can now do to either get like remotivated to get back into producing content, or how can they get over their fears?
Yeah. So I think the first thing I'd say is that if you're getting people disagreeing with you, that's a good thing. I like to say that if you're not actually annoying people with your content, if you're not sort of going against what some people think, then you're not being firm enough with it. Because when you do that, you set your personal values out there. And yes, there might be a couple of people that disagree with it, but the people you really want to work with are the ones that are going to really resonate with that. So it's not necessarily a bad thing to receive negative feedback. What was the second part of your question? Sorry.
Second part was if they have gotten it, or just getting the courage to do it, because we were talking about unique story.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I think a way I like to put it is write like a blog post or something on if you could write one blog post on all the things you know about whatever it is, your coaching service or whatever it is you're offering, maybe physiotherapy or coaching. Write a blog post about something. You don't have to post this blog post, but what the post is going to do is it's going to allow you to repurpose all of the content within it into shorter text posts, because I know everyone out there can write, say, 500 to 1,000 words on some advice around what they do. Okay, so do that and then cut bits up from it, cut snippets of it that make sense on their own and post those.
Okay. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a nice way to just sort of break it down and make it seem not as daunting as it is otherwise.
Um, Another thing that I was thinking about was, speed of building the personal brand.
Yeah.
Should it be done slowly so you're building connection, or can you build a connection quickly?
There's a balance you've got to get right here. There's a balance between, patience and consistency and the urgency to actually act. So I'd say act now, start building now and start building it daily. Don't wait. But at the same time, you have to be patient enough to know that this personal branding requires a lot of consistent effort. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take 3, 4, up to 12 months, to see traction. But when you do start seeing traction, the results are exponential. So really, it's the ones that actually stick with it and are consistent with it that see the best results over time.
Okay. Organic growth versus engagement ads, like to view your content. Which one are you former with?
When you're just getting started as a personal brand, organic growth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because it's far easier to make an impression on someone when you're doing things that aren't scalable. So, sending personalized messages, maybe taking the time out of your day to respond to someone's specific questions, things like that, have, huge effects on how people perceive you.
Okay. With things. Sorry, I'm just writing down what you're saying.
That's all good.
So next question that brings it up. So when trying to build your personal following, are you going through your own personal LinkedIn feed and making comments and liking other people's stuff as well, or are you just focused on like making content?
Yeah, absolutely. Commenting on other people's posts is just as important as posting yourself, because it shows that you're sort of an active member of the community. And there's a law in psychology, a lot of people probably know it, called the law of reciprocity or reciprocation. If you do something for other people, they're more inclined to do it for you. So if you're actually commenting on their posts, what's likely going to happen is the people whose posts you're commenting on are probably going to come back and comment on yours. And that just builds up a relationship, sort of a two-way relationship where you're much more inclined to help each other out.
Okay. Yeah, that's the one weakness I always have, is spending a lot of time on other people's comments and stuff.
Yeah,
That's the one thing I'm trying to tweak and change a little bit.
I think the way to sort of put it into perspective is if you comment on posts around your niche, then it's going to be far more beneficial in terms of the leads that you get from it. Because the chances are the people that are also commenting on it are your target market. So they're going to see your profile consistently pop up. And in the comments, you're not just saying great post or well done or whatever. You want to sort of add meaningful value. So if you're consistently adding value in these comment sections, people are going to see that, and then they're going to turn into leads, which is ultimately good for your business, right?
Mm. But let me ask you this question. This is actually a thing I just thought about as you're speaking. So we're talking about joining the overall community, right? So let's say that you're seeing posts in your feed, but not really your ideal client avatar. Would you still comment on those people's posts, or would you only focus on doing it to like people who eventually might turn into clients?
I'd do it for both, but you want to make sure the people that aren't your sort of ideal client avatar are still relatable to your industry, if you like.
Mm.
So if you were, say, a physio, it would still make sense to comment on general health posts, but it might not make sense to comment on, say, I don't know.
Yeah. A cement truck guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, because that's what I was noticing on LinkedIn. There's a community of it's I call it like the storm. People who are like both coaches but not really coaches, and they're all commenting on each other's posts, and it's like a tornado going around, and it's like picking out the best ones inside of that to start engaging with. That's always the one, because I'm like, I don't know if it's how much time do you spend watching other people's content? That's my biggest fear, is I'm going to be spending like 2 hours a day watching other people's LinkedIn comments.
Yeah, sure. So I tend to spend 15 to 30 minutes in the morning commenting on other people's posts. But then throughout the day, if I'm just having lunch and I've got my phone open, if I see a post, then I can comment on it. I will. But once I've done those 30 minutes, I don't sit down for another 6 hours commenting.
Okay.
I just do it as and when it makes sense to.
Okay.
It's the kind of thing you can just do whilst you're commuting or eating lunch or even whilst you're getting ready for bed.
So let's say, right, that before when we were talking about the organic growth, and you were saying when you're just beginning, at what stage do you kind of graduate for that intermediate? Like what is the kind of, I don't want to say KPIs or metrics that show that you're starting to make an impact and starting to build a community?
Yeah. Okay. So the thing with this is that it's subjective to everyone, and it's different for every people depending on what you're doing and what your goals are. Obviously, with the right strategies, it's going to speed up the process. But generally, I'd say it does depend on the kind of metrics you're going for. If you're looking to get clients, you can get clients in, a few days if you're really on it with your outreach scripts and that. But if you're actually looking to build a personal brand and looking for things like podcast opportunities and speaking gigs, and maybe larger training groups, for example, you're probably looking at anywhere from 3 to 12 months.
Yeah, that's the funny hack. It's like the weirdest thing for me. I get clients relatively easily, and I can get get on different podcasts and stuff. But getting people to comment on my videos, even people just saying like "great post" or even like the fake comments, I get no comments on videos.
Yeah. Okay. So in terms of actually getting engagement on posts, it largely comes down to either the text that you're using or the way the video is structured. So for video, to maximize engagement, what you want to do is have a banner at the top. And it's nice to put it this way. If you edit it with a banner at the top, see the banner as like the title, as if it was a book. Yeah. So the banner's the title. And then you have the text that accompanies the post, right? And you want that to almost be like the blurb of a book. So it gives the context behind why you're recording the video. And then in the video itself, you want that to be the contents of the book, the value you're offering, the advice you're giving. And then if you can, subtitle it as well. I don't know if you do it already, but on LinkedIn, a lot of people are watching videos without audio because they're maybe on a train or they're at work or whatever. So if you can subtitle it, there's loads of tools like rev.com that will subtitle the video for you, but they'll massively increase your engagement. If you're doing text posts, I'd focus a lot on the headline. Changing my headlines transform my content and transform the engagement I was getting on them. So yeah, I'd put most of the focus on the headline and then just keep trying to get the reader to read the next line along, basically.
Yeah, that's the weirdest thing. Let me ask you a question like this, right? So I know that you get clients. Do most of your clients are they like the people who are commenting on your posts regularly, or are they people who, when you get on the consultation call, or they just randomly reach out, you've never seen them before on your posts?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's actually a mix of the two. Okay. So some people will want to follow you for a while. They'll be really active in commenting on your stuff. And then when the time's right for them, they'll reach out to you and ask. Mm. Other people will just find your profile randomly. Maybe it's the first time they've seen it, and they'll actually look through your experience, your about section, and maybe some of your content, and they'll go, okay, this person's right for me. And they'll reach out and say, look, I've looked through your stuff. What you're doing is amazing, and I'd love to work together. So it's actually a mix of the two.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I usually get, like ghosts or wallflowers. On the consultation, they're like, hey, I loved your post 3 months ago that said schedule a consultation call. And I'm like, I've never seen you like a post. I've never seen you. I don't even know you're connected to me. And you just randomly messaged me one day,
Yeah.
Interesting. Cool. Interesting. Call to actions. Do you ever do any call to actions or at the end of your videos or what is it being called?
So everyone knows the Gary Vee saying jab, jab, hook, or whatever it is, jab, 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 right hook. With LinkedIn, a lot of the time you have to jab a lot more times before you can hook. But one nice strategy I like to do when I do hook is It's called a viral loop strategy. So you're giving away something either free or paid. That's up to you. Maybe it's a free consultation, and you make a post about it, giving value as you normally would. And then at the bottom of the post, you can actually put something like, comment, yes, please, or I'm in if you want to book a free consultation. And that's going to get loads of people commenting on your post, which you can then message and send them a link privately. But when they're commenting, what it's going to do is boost your post in the algorithm so that more people are seeing it, which is obviously going to increase the number of people taking up your offers. And if you get unbearable amounts of people, if it gets impossible to message all of them personally, you can say, look guys, the response to this has been crazy. Here's the link, and just post it under your original post.
So what if that flops? So for example, you're having people, I'm always hesitant about doing that, because like if you say, comment yes please, you want to schedule a consultation call, but you get people like doing it in private and scheduling the consultation call, but no one's writing yes please. Is that ever a bad thing, or what are your thoughts on that?
If people are still reaching out to you to work together, then it's not necessarily a bad thing. You do want people actually commenting on the post because it will boost it in the algorithm. Yeah. So if you can, people generally will. I've had a fair bit of success with this, especially if it's something that you're offering free or really good deal.
Oh, like a lead. Okay, like a lead magnet. Okay.
Yeah. But it works both ways. You can offer it for something paid. It's probably not going to work for a, say, $3,000 a month retainer.
Yeah.
But if it's sort of a low ticket offer or a lead magnet or a free consultation, then it's a good strategy to use.
Can I ask you this question? One of my main hangups, right, is always about how I'm perceived. That's the only reason why the yes please I had that hangup, is because I'm like, if someone like negatively sees it or sees, oh, this person isn't getting the results that he wanted, does that hurt your brand, or does that hurt you long term, or not really?
Sure. That's where the jabbing comes in handy, right? If you're consistently providing value and people are so used to providing value, it's not going to change their perception of you. So if you can surround these sort of call to action posts with loads and loads of free value that you're happy to give up, then it's going to be fine for your reputation. If you're going in constantly trying to offer people and sell in your post, no one likes sales pitches in posts, right? It's frustrating, it's annoying, people don't want to see it. So if you're consistently doing that, then yeah, it's going to be damaging. But if you're surrounding a call to action post around loads of great content, then it won't be a problem.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I end up doing like a million like jabs, and my only real call to action that I put in most videos nowadays ends up being like join my community or join my group. Sure. What are your thoughts on that? Do you consider that like a sales call to action when it's just like when it's not really like to buy anything, but it's more like join our friend group?
I think that's great. Okay. Because you're doing that so that you can provide them with more value. Yeah. If it's going to benefit them, then I think you have an obligation to offer it to them. So a lot of my strategy is actually focused around or whatever. All too often, I'm come from a place of deliver enough value and people will basically sell themselves on what you have to offer.
What does success mean to you?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think so. Success is a very subjective thing. And what I've come to learn over the last, probably only this year actually, is that success, for me, there isn't a definition of success. But for me, success is celebrating wins that you've worked hard to achieve. I'm a big believer that we should celebrate our wins, because otherwise they're pointless, right? Whether it's getting a new client or getting results for a client or winning a sports fixture or whatever it is, celebrate that win, because otherwise all the hard work you've done leading up to that is meaningless. So I've sort of got to the stage where I'm actually addicted to working hard and celebrating wins. So if I can continue to do that and do it bigger and better every time, that to me is success.
All right, cool. Yeah, so then, are you working on any special projects or any programs? I know you probably don't have any conferences because of what's going on right now, but do you have anything else going on?
Yes, yeah. So I'm working on two main projects at the moment. One is a 12-month group coaching program, and that's basically 12 months taking you through how to build a personal brand, basically. And the reason I've done it for 12 months is to sort of guide people through that every step of the way and really be able to create long-term results together. So I'm actually looking for a group of people to test that out on for quite a discounted price now. So that's one of my projects. The other is I'm collaborating with a coach of mine on sort of a 6-week training program around getting leads from LinkedIn and actually selling to those leads, right? Getting them on sales calls and closing them. So we're going to team up and do that over 6 weeks, and we're going to do that next week. I think we're starting the first webinar, or we're doing a free webinar next week, and that is to basically sort of build up some businesses in quite I know it's an uncertain time at the moment. A lot of people are struggling, so we want to really build up some businesses in that time. So that's why we're doing sort of a quick 6-week program to get people up to speed.
Okay. And where can people find out or learn more about you?
LinkedIn is probably the best place. I'm currently editing my website, so for now I think LinkedIn is the best place. Feel free to shoot me a message. Just mention that you heard me on here, and I'll accept you, and I'll be happy to chat to anyone.
Okay. If you want to spell his name, it's spelled SAM space WINSBURY. The name is right underneath his picture on Zoom, just in case you didn't hear me. Cool, man. I really appreciate your time. Got some great tips out of that.
That's been fantastic. Thank you.
Excellent. So, thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate you guys watching up to this point. If you want to go get some more value, be able to see the full version of this, I recommend that you go and join our group, or my group, called Uncapped Growth Strategies. It's going to be a link either above or below the video, depending on where you see this. Have a great day, guys. Take it easy. I'd say I have one more question. So if you were going to build a personal brand from scratch, let's say that you had, actually, yeah, can you describe what your 12-month program would look like for the people watching?
Sure. So the first thing would be to actually make sure you've got your mindset right. As I mentioned, the people that are going to see real results with personal branding are those that are actually committed to be consistent and patient with it, and sort of driven and disciplined enough to post daily and to really put their brand out there. So the first thing is ensuring your mindset's right, and that involves sort of setting up daily habits. Next thing that's probably going to help with that a lot is finding your why and your values. So the reason why you're doing what you're doing, why you coach or whatever it is. Once you do that, you can use those values that you have to sort of align them with your target audiences, and that's going to help you resonate with them a lot more. Once you sort of got those foundations in place, this is like building your house on rock rather than sand, if you like. That's how I like to put it. So now you've got the rock to build your house on, you can start building up your profile. So optimizing all the parts of your LinkedIn profile and other social profiles on, say, Facebook or Instagram, whatever you're using. And then you want to get into sort of your content, analyzing what content's working in your niche and what's not. Maybe if you've put stuff out before, what things have worked, what things haven't. So yeah, I'd go in with loads of content, get enough to sort of test and monitor and analyze, and then you can improve it regularly. And then obviously you're moving into things like podcasts, like you're doing now, collaborating with other people, creating groups, trying to feature on other people's blogs, eventually other people's podcasts, which is a fantastic way to actually sort of build your brand and connect with amazing people as well.
Okay. Cool, man. Yeah, excellent. Cool. So I think we're gonna end that there unless we find a bonus thing. Okay, guys, we'll see you soon.